Welcome into another edition of Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Pauline McNelis. We've got a very special guest here today, Pauline Love, sitting in for Coach McNelis to talk about the wins over UTSA and over the UTEP Miners. And it was certainly a big homestand for Southern Miss to continue the recent string of good play. And now the Lady Eagles look back on this past weekend, 5 wins in the last 6 ball games, and one of those almost got away. And that's where we'll start. 74-71 win over the Roadrunners. And that was a ball game where the Lady Eagles really had control. But as we know about the Roadrunners, they just quietly, very nonchalantly just find a way to get back into ball games.
We talked about it in the locker room. We told them they're never going to go away. Like, we always been called the pesky team on defense. Well, they're the pesky team on offense because they can shoot. They can shoot the mess out of it. And they got the big inside, the answer in the inside with Tessa Smith. I mean, they just hung around, and we almost gave that one up. That was pretty close.
It was weird because it seemed like that this was a UTSA team that just looked to be a little flat. It was their 3rd straight road game. They looked to really be lacking for energy. But once they started making a couple of shots, then they kind of realized they had time to get back in the ball game.
Oh, exactly. They're an in-rhythm team. I mean, when somebody made a shot, somebody got to stop, and they fed on that. Like I said, they had some really, really good guards. And I told our girls they are a matchup nightmare because their guards are not just these tiny little 5'8" guards. You're talking about 5'10", 5'11", 6-foot guards that even if we're there on their shot and we're jumping and trying to block it, they just elevate and score over us. But our girls stuck to the game plan and they ended up being fine.
Well, this was a game where Coach McNelis had to instill the game plan and then watch on as Coach Hill and the staff and you implemented that game plan. So it was certainly nerve-wracking for her as she missed that ball game. A little bit different feel on the sidelines. Was that strange for you? I know it was strange for me.
You know what? Let me tell you the weird part. The weird part is if you didn't hear the eagle screech. That was the really weird part, is not being able to hear that. So it was definitely different, but I tell you what, Kylie Hill definitely stepped up and just took control. I mean, he's used to it. He's been a head coach for 20-some odd years. So, but other than that, and we looked up to the stands, and I told her, I said, Coach, you're not coming to this game. And she started laughing. So in my head, I'm thinking, she's coming. So I looked up at the top, and I was like, well, at least she's here, and I can at least feel her presence here. And so it was definitely different. It was definitely for our girls and for our staff, but we played for her that night.
You certainly played for her, and when it tightened up, you burned the timeout, you draw it up, you got everybody executed very well in that play. And instead of getting anything at the rim, though, you got a very clutch pull-up jumper by Kiri Jewett-Giles. Never a doubt, right, that was going in?
Absolutely not. And I went up to Kiri. I said, how did you feel about the shot? She said, oh, Coach B, I was good. I was behind the rim, but I practiced that shot all the time, and I was just like, well, we don't want to practice shots behind the rim, but I'm glad you made the shot. I mean, she felt comfortable. Even in the timeout, she's like, Coach B, we got this. We're good. She was just comfortable enough to know we got this.
There were many first-hand accounts, though, of fans thinking it was going to hit the side of the backboard. Coach Hill was standing on the baseline. He thought it was going to hit the side of the backboard. And again, she was as calm as she could have been.
But you know what I was thinking in my head? You had Tisha Smith that was kind of right there on the block. I was just like, if I'm Smith, I'm waiting on her to come in there because I'm ready to just boop, block it. But she did, and I was like, I'm glad you made that decision. But next time, let's not shoot it behind the backboard.
Well, from that game, 74-71, that was one where there's always going to be a game every 2 or 3 where there's one that you've got to find a way to win that you're probably going to lose. That was that game. Then you put that one behind you and you go out and really put on a defensive display against UTEP. It was really right before the half. You call a timeout. UTEP has tightened the game up. You close the first half on a run to go up 10, and you come out of the locker room and play one of the best quarters of the year.
Oh, absolutely, because we tell our girls the day we beat UTSA, the next day, the beginning of practice, we walked through stuff with UTEP, but we knew we had to work on us. We're a defensive team right now. We're playing well defensively, and we knew that was one of the big parts of coming to this game because they had a girl, Sparker Taylor, who's absolutely ridiculous on offense. She's pretty good. And, and the only way we were going to do that was communication and defense.
And this is a UTEP team where now they definitely were physically tired. We kind of took their will from them in that third quarter.
Absolutely.
And so Keith Adams clears out the bench and puts in some younger players. They try to make a comeback, but the matchups weren't good. We've got to know, too, mentally after that ball game, that wouldn't be the same team we'd see on a neutral floor in the tournament.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Keitha was making a stand for her team and making a point, you know, and every team goes through certain situations like that. But, you know, our girls, we learned something too, because we made some terrible mistakes towards the end of that game. I mean, she played their bench, and that bench played hard, you know. We got to work on this. We can't sit back and just let the game just go with the flow. We still have to continue to play our game, and we got to grow with that. We got to grow.
All in all, how do you grade out the weekend that was with those 2 wins as you sweep both of those teams for the year?
I definitely give our kids an A+. I'm like I said, the effort was there, the defense was there. We just made minimal mistakes, and it was a lot of them. And so we work on those, I think we'll be fine.
All right, that's Pauline Love. She'll be back with us in our final segment of the show to talk about the week that is to come against FIU and FAU. When we come back, we'll be joined by Coach Pittman. Lauren Pittman's going to join us, Pitt, as she goes by all the coaches and all the players, and she's going to talk. She's our recruiting coordinator. She'll talk in as generic and wonderfully generic terms as she can about what they do day to day in terms of the recruiting process and how that goes and what exciting things are in store for you, the fans. We'll be back. You're watching Southern Miss Sports Today. Welcome back to Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joylee McNelis. As you can see in this segment, we're joined by Lauren Pittman, our recruiting coordinator, our assistant coach here at the Lady Eagles. And, well, Lauren, we're so happy to have you joining us here today. And as you can see, Lauren is dressed and she has been on the run. She has been recruiting. She has been busy today. She is dressed for the travel and the road. And we literally had to grab you off the road. And we brought you in to talk about recruiting. You'll be right back out after we tape this. This is the time of year where you're juggling recruiting, scouting, the road trips, the practice schedule, and other things. I mean, the plate is full. Take fans back through what an average day or two or an average week has looked like over the last month for you, and how the juggling act continues and you coordinate all the coaches.
Sure. Yeah, Josh. We've been very, very busy, you know, and taking care of our kids here is obviously a priority, but we also have to look for the future. And it's been fun because I'm very much okay, this time we got to be here, we need to be there. And so making sure that we're seeing the people, the recruits and the schools and all of the athletes that we need to see while we're managing games. When we were out on a road trip a few weeks ago, as soon as the game was over that night, Coach Love and I, or the day before the game, Coach Hill had went to see a prospect, and then that next night, after when we get finished playing, we use the same rental car. Coach Love and I, we hop in the rental and we drive 2 hours north, and we spend the day driving south, stopping at schools on our way to our next opponent. And so just knowing where we're going to be and taking advantage of those opportunities. And when we head down to Florida, we hope to catch some playoff games down there. And so it's exciting at the same time, but it never ends. We are constantly talking about, in between our scouts, we're talking about when can we fit in windows of where we are with certain recruits and who do we need to go see, making sure that we get Coach McNelis to games that she needs to be at. Where are we with kids? We need to go make decisions on this prospect. Can she play or can she not play for the Lady Eagles? Is she good enough? Because we definitely want to bring in some great new faces for this program.
We're talking to Lauren Pittman here. And Lauren, when you look at how recruiting has changed and really evolves, and it really, I don't want to say it gets easier, probably gets harder every year. What are the challenges you face? What are some things that keep you on your toes every year in the recruiting process?
Sure. You know, coming in, each phase is different. July recruitment is completely different from when players get back with their high school teams. So they're in the club teams, they're on the circuit with kids from different high schools, and then you have to kind of switch gears and say, okay, where are they in playoff time right now with their high school team? Now they're in bracket play, so you're having to figure out, well, if they won on Tuesday night, they're going to be playing at what time on Friday night? And so those types of things, that keeps me on my toes, is mainly figuring out where teams are going to be in their brackets. And then also, now you throw in the social media aspect. And so kids are posting, it's crazy. They post highlights to their YouTube links, and I want to go, we can retweet and like and share all of that stuff now. So while, do I sit in my office and scroll Twitter all day? No, but I do make a conscious effort. And Coach Love and I, if we see something with one of our prospects on any social media platform, we want to make sure we like it. So that's kind of changed. It's kind of make a constant influx of information.
You really want to like it. You don't want to necessarily share it because you kind of want to keep that to yourself,
you
right?
You do. But sometimes, I mean, everything's so wide open now, and I mean, it's just so, knowledge is just vast with all the social media. So that kind of stuff, that keeps, I like it though. We enjoy it because it keeps us informed, and we're able to say, oh yeah, she had 20 points last night, and it's easy. Although we have services that help do it for us, it's right there because we're already going to check it anyway.
Well, in closing in this segment, certainly this class is not done coming up for next year.
Yeah.
There are probably ideally 3 more players you'd like to go get. What are needs you're looking to address here as you wrap up the recruiting cycle?
Well, Josh, come on. You know, we signed a post player in the early period. So, you know, with being average height, 5'11", we got to go get some big kids. And so that's going to be our main focus. And we also want to find a few prospects that can come in and make immediate impact, like be able to play right away.
All right, Lauren, thank you so much.
Thank you, Josh.
That's Lauren Pittman, our recruiting coordinator here at Southern Miss. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll catch back up with Pauline Love. She'll talk about the road trip that's coming up to Miami and to Boca to take on FIU and FAU. You're watching Southern Miss Sports Today.
Hey basketball fans, the Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championship is headed back to Birmingham in 2017. Bartow and Legacy Arenas will host games from March 8th through March 11th. So mark your calendars now and be sure to check out conferenceusa.com for all the information like ticket prices, championship brackets, and game times. This will be college basketball at its best, so plan now to join us in Birmingham.
Sophie, his 13th birthday. Gift, we've got you. Guitar, coming tomorrow. Road game today, surprise party tomorrow. Change of plans. Game tomorrow.
No, birthday tomorrow. Hotel.
Guitar, reroute.
Birthdays are on birthdays.
Party, relocate. UPS My Choice makes rerouting packages easy. How we're helping companies solve for the needs of customers like Sophie.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Sports Today as Pauline Love is sitting in for Coach McNelis and talking about here in our final segment about the big weekend that is coming up. It's FIU in Miami, FAU in Boca. Usually we're leaving Hattiesburg, heading to 80-degree sunshine.
Absolutely.
And it's 30 degrees and overcast. We're leaving good weather here this year to go play 2 teams that are scary matchups from this standpoint of these are ultimate trap games. These are 2 teams. And let's start with FIU. This FIU team, ton of athletes, no chemistry at this point in the season, but on any given night, the Lady Eagles know they've got to be ready to take the best shot at the Golden Panthers.
Oh, absolutely. They're just waiting on their night, you know. I mean, they got a few wins in our conference, but I'm going to tell you what, those kids are athletes. They play hard. They play hard for 40 minutes, and we got to get our girls mentally prepared for that because if we don't make our first couple shots, you know how we get, Josh. Sometimes we get down and the other teams convert, and you know it could go either way with that team. So we just got to be prepared for it.
21-0 score to Old Dominion. The Golden Panthers were down to start that ball game. That's hard to believe with the type of players that they have. They bring Pound back. She was an all-league performer a couple of years ago, didn't play last year. She's back. She gives them a legit star.
Oh, she does. Like I said, we talk about those kids being athletic. Pound can elevate and score. And I said when I was watching her in film, I was like, she's paws in the air for about 5 seconds before anybody can even get to her. So she's athletic. But ODU, they play well. Of course, Jenny Sims had about 13 of those 21. But, I mean, we're going to have that mentality going to that game. We're going to have to step on that throat early, and we can't be comfortable, because they are a team that if they make shots, when they're hot, but when they're not, and we got to help our girls through situations like that.
How do we start fast in Florida? We should have a good contingent of fans. It could be a fairly even crowd on Thursday night down against the Golden Panthers. What do we have to do to start fast?
Oh, absolutely. We got to get our transition going. I mean, that's been our bread and butter. That's been the way. That's how we're in the words of our girls. That's how we eat. So we got to start getting our transition bill early and get some easy baskets. And then it's going to go both ways. If they're going to try to run and score in the transition as well, because that's what they want to do anyway. So we got to know that we got to stop the ball early and score in transition.
Well, for FAU, the temptation is to think that this is a team that is kind of just counting down the days until the season is over. Some scores would certainly maybe make you think that. We know better. We know how this team shoots when Southern Miss comes to town.
Absolutely.
And the ladies know that, and they'll see film proving that from recent years. But again, this is another mental hurdle the Lady Eagles have to overcome.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said earlier, we got 3 kids, Brittany Dinkins, Kiri Jewett, and Respect Lepar. They're going to want to play good in front of their family. They're going to want to play that. So that could go either way, because we had one year where Brittany Dinkins just could not make a basket at FIU. And then we had a year where she was our lead scorer. So like I said, everything is mental with our kids. It's our job to get them going.
All right, here in closing, this is the final road trip of the regular season. Then we will return home for 3 in a row. Right. You win a couple this week, you set yourself up for an opportunity to achieve a lot of good things over the final couple weeks of this season. It just, every game's big, and I know you're trying to take it game by game and continue to challenge the ladies. Have you been able to feel like that the girls have been responsive as you've kind of been able to get into them a little bit more in practice?
Oh, absolutely. We just give them a chance. We tell them we're fighting for a bye. We're trying to get a bye in the tournament. We want to make this easier on ourselves. And now these kids, I told them, we have to practice this if we're going into play a championship game every game. We're not going to let up. We're not going to miss the easy shots. We're going to go get the offensive rebound. We're going to go box out. We're doing the little things because we're preparing to win a championship in Birmingham.
Well, and in closing, last question here. As a player, you got so close to tasting a championship, but yet you know that you're putting yourselves in an opportunity to chase another one as a coach again this year. How do you pass that knowledge, that wisdom on to these players?
I mean, I tell them all the time, I cannot explain the excitement, the feeling you get. I told them 3 years ago when we had Tam and all them and we're playing a championship game, I think I was more nervous than they were because I got that. It was a player in me that was like, I'm ready to go play. I was ready to warm up. So I cannot explain them how excited it is. If we get to that point, and if I feel like we're good like I think we are, defensively, we can win a championship with this team.
Pauline, thank you so much for joining us and filling in for Coach.
Thank you, Josh.
You did great. She did great, didn't she? Pauline Love, the assistant coach of the Southern Miss Lady Eagles. That's going to put a wrap on this edition of Southern Miss Sports Today. Coach McNelis will be back with us scheduled for next week. And don't forget to join us each and every Monday night at Georgia Blue from 6 to 7 o'clock. For Pauline Love, for Lauren Pittman, I'm Josh West. For Craig Adams, you've been watching Southern Miss Sports Today.